For the last year or so, I've cherished every time Pastor Paul Dries came onto my For You page. For the uninitiated, he's a Christian TikToker who makes videos on progressive Christianity, most of which are focused on incorrect readings of scripture and how the Bible actually supports progressivism. I'm not Christian. Uh, well, I mean, my view on religion is a lot more complex than that, I guess. I believe that since every religion I've heard of has supporters who have prayed and gotten what they needed, they must all be true in some way. Or none of them are true, and whatever true God is out there doesn't care and understands we as humans will never fully understand the universe. Or the idea of any god is fake and it's all psychological phenomena. But in practice, I'm a Hellenistic polytheist, which means I worship the Greek gods. On all accounts, I shouldn't like Christian content as much as I do, and I've seen a lot of people share that sentiment. I think it might be because of the progressivism and how rare that is in a lot of Christian content. This got me thinking about other Christian media, like, particularly one show that I feel like a lot of you know. If I know any single cartoon franchise, it's veggietales. And if I know anything about veggietales, I know it's pretty popular among any group of people you can find.
And veggietales.
Because the thing about creators is they feel like they made the darn show.
VeggieTales.
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 Larry the Cucumber and Bob the Tomato.
VeggieTales.
VeggieTales.
And even though I know a lot about veggietales, I don't exactly know why it got that popular. I mean, I'm a hyperqueer furry trans guy who makes video essays on YouTube. I don't think I was exactly the target audience. It isn't even honestly, like, all that progressive, but I like it a lot. And I ask myself, why has this specific Christian show left its target audience when no other Christian show has? What does it do that no other show does?
I was a good kid.
To answer this question, I watched as many VeggieTales episodes as I had access to, but for the sake of not making this a VeggieTales episode ranking video, I'll only be going through a select few. Let's start with the first one. Where's God when I'm scared? The first segment of this episode is about Junior Asparagus being scared that he's going to be attacked by Frankenstein. Frankencelery, because he watches a scary movie right before going to bed. And as he's lying in bed and, thinking about the movie he just watched, Bob the Tomato and Larry the Cucumber just kind of appear in his house. Don't ask. Despite him saying that he wasn't scared, they comfort him with a song. The song isn't too comforting at first, but that's just, to set the scene. The chorus of the song is about how, quote, God is bigger than the boogeyman, and they tell Junior, that fact. Along with the fact that the monster he saw on TV was really just an actor from Toledo, Ohio.
And I'm an actor from Toledo.
What?
But most importantly, well, I'm just gonna let Bob put it best.
You see, everything God makes is very special to him. He made all the little kids and he loves them very much. And because he loves them, he takes extra good care of them. So we don't need to be afraid because God is always looking out for us.
At the end of the section, there's a scene where Junior talks to his dad. His name is Mike, by the way, and tells him everything he learned from Bob and Larry. And his dad praises him for, figuring out all that stuff. And he says that if Junior ever gets scared, he can always talk to him. I see a lot of criticism for this episode because of, the weird rendering and lighting and such and the kind of off tone. But honestly, it's not that bad. Especially for the first episode of a 90s show made in some guy's basement. And it's kind of one of my favorite episodes. As someone who deals with paranoia on a daily basis due to my laundry list of mental issues, I heavily relate to Junior Asparagus. Yeah, I kin the asparagus kid from the Christian Vegetable Show. Cringe is dead and I'm about 90% candy corn by volume. I also think that starting a kids show off with the episode saying, hey, by the way, God and your parents are taking care of you, and you're very smart for knowing this and learning a lesson from this episode, it's amazing. The first segment is just positive reinforcement and a statement on parental love. Well, and agape, the love of God for human beings. The second section of this episode is a lot like the first one. It's an adaptation of the Bible story, Daniel in the Lion's Den. Daniel, played by Larry, is promoted by the king for interpreting his dream correctly. The king's wise men get jealous of him and come up with a plan to get him thrown out. They convinced the king to write a law that says everyone must pray to him and only him, and then throw Daniel in the lion's den when they find out that he prays to, God and shit and not the king. The next morning, the king and the wise men find that Daniel is, in fact, still alive in the lion's den because he prayed to his God to survive. The entire conceit of this episode, both the first and the second section, is like, hey kids, God loves you, by the way, and also you're very special and smart for knowing that he loves you, and it's awesome. Uh, Taking away any specific religion from this, I know, that's kind of hard. It's just kind of nice in general to think that there's any kind of being more powerful than you, watching over you and protecting you. Like, it just as concept, it makes sense for people, especially children, to subscribe to it. If you think about it, gods are like parents, but they actually have all the power in the world with no limits, assuming they're real. Anyway, on to episode 3, Are You My Neighbor? Because episode 2 is about forgiveness, and that's only tangentially related to the point I'm trying to make. It describes a feud between two cities, one in which people wore shoes on their head, and another in which people wore pots in their head. They fought constantly over, what was correct to wear. But some townspeople preferred to stay out of the fight. Larry, I don't think he's given an in-story name here, is one of those people who, prefers not to. So he travels out of the city one day to go on a walk, and is attacked by bandits for his milk money, then shoved in a hole. The mayor of the town he's from, Flibrolu, came across him and decided against helping him, remarking that he was just too busy. The town's doctor did the same thing. And then, after they left, a young boy from the other town, Jibbery Lot, decided to help him out of the hole and walk him back to Flibrolu to find a doctor. At the end, they all sing a song about, loving one's neighbor and all that stuff. Okay, this does sound like the average, love your neighbor plus maybe perchance don't be racist guys thing, but, alright, I'm gonna sound crazy here, but I don't know, it's kind of, like the first episode, and that it also spreads the, message of, hey, child watching this, you're cool and awesome, and also you have the power to, do great stuff, and, in a kind of subtle way, look at all the other asparaguses and how they treat Larry, but the child asparagus, Junior, is the one that breaks the cycle. The one that says, hey, even if this guy is from a different town, I'll still treat him right. The second section of this episode is about the same asparagus learning to not be racist to the kid from another country he just met through a space adventure for some reason. I'm not going over it because it doesn't really matter right now. I think it's great that they had the kid learning this lesson and also, teaching other people this lesson. Like, hey, child watching this, don't be racist. Also teach other people not to be racist. Also, you will convince people, and it's nice. I don't know, man. And the scenario in the latter half is, pretty realistic for a show about talking vegetables. I'm gonna speed through episode 4, Rack, Shack, and Benny, because what I really want to talk about is the ending song. Rack, Shack, and Benny all work at Mr. Nezer's chocolate factory, and one day Mr. Nezer says to all his overworked child employees, eat all the chocolate you want, in the celebration of their 2 millionth chocolate bunny being shipped out. Rack, Shack, and Benny eat quickly, until Shack tells his friends to stop. He says something along the lines of, wait, our parents tell us, not to eat too much sugar. And his friends are like, okay, but they're not here, so I don't really give a fuck. And then he says,
You see? Even though our parents aren't here right now to help us do what's right, if we remember what they taught us, it's kind of like they are here.
And then his friends are convinced to stop. Mr. Nezer checks in on all his employees, and upon finding that Rack, Shack, and Benny were the only ones not passed out sick on the floor, promotes the trio. The next day, he brings them into his office and tells them that he's got a 90-foot tall statue of the bunny put up, and they've got to worship it. And he sings the bunny song, a song worshiping the chocolate bunnies he's making to them, and he says that they've got to sing it too at the ceremony that will be there that day. And Rack asks, okay, but, what if we don't, perchance? And he basically tells them that he'll throw them into the furnaces where they throw out the misshapen chocolate bunnies. At the ceremony, Rack, Shack, and Benny all refuse to sing the song, and after a little chase sequence, they all get thrown into the furnace, but God is in there with them, apparently, and so they come out unscathed. Wait, this is just the first episode with the added don't give in to peer pressure moral. Oh shit, wait, the song. And now it's time for Analyzing Songs with Rich Tracker, the part of the show where Rich comes out and analyzes songs. Stand Up is the song that plays at the end of this VeggieTales episode, and it fucking slaps. This call and response kills me every time I listen to it.
I remember
Stand up! Stand up!
It's kind of a song about listening to your parents a little bit in some lines, but it's mostly about, like, standing up for what you know is right, even in the face of a big, scary authority figure who's going to throw you into the furnace if you don't worship the bunny. And if you do that, there's a deity that's going to protect you and make sure no one hurts you. Child watching this. This goes even harder on the agape being just parental love theory I've had for a little bit now. Like, now it's just kind of directly correlated. Episode 5, Dave and the Giant Pickle is... Okay, so I know at least some of you know what David and Goliath is. It was mentioned on like, Young Sheldon in a clip that's went kind of popular, I guess. So, yeah, that's this. But, in case you don't know, Dave, played by Junior Asparagus here, is an Israelite. The Philistines waged war against the Israelites, and the Israelites had assumed they're going to win the war because the Philistines are extremely small. The deal is that the Philistines' strongest man and the Israelites' strongest man will fight. And of course, when the Philistines bring out fucking Goliath, none of them want to fight him. Until Dave is like, alright, damn, I'll fight them. And everyone doubts him at first, but then he knocks out Goliath by using his slingshot to shoot a rock at his forehead. It's kind of the whole kids can do big stuff too moral that was subtle in other episodes, but it's just its own episode now. Like, the whole moral is just, by the way, God will also help you with whatever you need done, even if you're little. You're gonna go far, kid, or whatever. And in all of the episodes mentioned, and, more that weren't, at the end of them, the tagline is said,
God made you special and he loves you very much.
the secret to why it's so popular is love. Specifically that of the parental kind. It makes sense for a kid's show to be based on that. Like, it's funny, it's musically sound, but it's also filled to the brim with love for one's children. The hosts are, like, actual parental figures. Like, they comfort Junior when he's upset. They have a lover's spat in episode 2 during a parody of Gilligan's Island. I'm not saying I ship Larry and Bob, but, like, anyway. In the theme song, there's this fucking line of dialogue.
I don't want to play that. I'll look silly.
Oh, come on. It'll be fun.
Nope. Not gonna do it.
It's for the kids.
Oh, okay. But they better not laugh.
All right. Better get on out there.
Bob and Larry are literally like your two gay dads for some reason. I can't just ignore the subtext here. The POV when you're watching VeggieTales is that of a, like, child of two pastors. And it's fucking beautiful. A lot of the episodes have a, like, subtle or not so subtle, yes, you, the child watching this, will learn the lesson, and you are special and good for doing so. With Junior as a character just, like, being there. This show was basically fucking written by Junior's dad. In conclusion, VeggieTales is as popular as it is among children and among adults, because its version of God is that of the concept of a god. The all-loving, all-powerful, almost parental figure. It doesn't even mention heaven or hell, and it barely mentions Bible stories. It's all, like, shown through metaphors and, like, versions of the parables. They made a show that bottled up pure fucking parental love and just making up stories and shit, and expected not to have college students who just separated from their parents flock to it in troves. And I think that's kind of why progressive Christianity is so popular too, like, even among people who aren't fucking Christian. Because everyone wants there to be a deity to protect them. It's human nature. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, everybody.